Welcome to A Poor Millionaire. Today we're going to talk about 5 write-offs that a small business can use to lower overall income. Welcome to A Poor Millionaire. My name is Curtis, and today we're going to talk about 5 ways you can write off, 5 things you can write off on your taxes if you have a small business. Now, guys, you can open a small business in your house. Part-time. You can file the paperwork, but you got to do all the steps. You got to make sure you're legal and legit. Obviously, do your research, do your pay, and you can open a small business. Now, when you open a small business, there are 5. These are just actually there's probably like 20 or 25 different things you can write off. But these are the top 5. These are the ones that are interesting. These are the ones that spark your curiosity, right? Spark your curiosity. You want your curiosity sparked? Here's ways. And this small business, you could be working a normal 9 to 5, start a small business. Legitimate small business, and as long as the IRS sees that you're making a legitimate effort to make money in your small business, they will let you write all of this stuff off and you will save money on your taxes. All right, so let's go through that list of small business things that you can write off. Number 1, if you eat out a lot and you're talking small business with the people that you eat out, let's say you go out with your friends all the time and you talk about business, you talk about business opportunities. While you're talking to your friends about business opportunities, while you're trying to convince them to join your small business, it's a great idea to start a small business is get your friend to go in with you. Partners, that's how I got my first small business started, was I had me and my best friend started the business together. We weren't doing much else. We worked together and we worked in a small business together. So while you're talking to your friend on the small business that you've already started and you're talking about the small business, the IRS lets you write off 50% of the meals. Now, guys, this is always changing. So you might be watching this video in the future, and in the future, they might change that rule. All of these rules could be changed in the future, so you need to verify what I'm telling you is the truth. But currently, as far as I understand it, and I am not a tax attorney, and I'm not that great on taxes, so you got to do your own research, talk to a tax attorney. Currently, these are the 5 things you can write off. Always change it. Like I said, you could be watching this video 2-3 years from in the future and they totally changed it. But currently, as far as I understand it, you can write off 50% of a meal. You go out to eat, you pay with a credit card, you can write off 50% of that meal. Now, if you're not making very much money and you want to write off, and that 50% of your meal, and you eat out a lot, let's say you're spending $200 a week on eating out, and all those eating out times you're eating out with people who are involved in the small business that you're dealing with, that's going to make a difference, guys, because you're going to be able to write off half of that. That's $100 write off on your taxes. That's going to make a difference, right? Number 2, office equipment. What is office equipment? Office equipment could be your laptop, if you're using a camera for YouTube or lighting or desk or chairs. Anything you buy for your business that is specifically for your business. So when you buy the laptop, it has to be specifically for business. But that doesn't mean you have a separate laptop. That just means that the laptop that you buy is got a business purpose, right? I'm using this laptop for a business purpose, so therefore it's 100% write-offable. Obviously, that'll save you some money because you need a $1,000 laptop for your business. You buy that laptop, you can write off the entire amount of that laptop. Now, obviously, some office equipment, you have to do depreciation and other weird stuff. You'll have to talk to a tax attorney, but still, at the same time, though, getting write-offs on stuff that you're going to need for your business is going to make a lot of sense. It's going to lower your overall taxes and save you in the future. Number 3, travel. Travel's a big one. If you have to travel. Now, what I used to do when I owned a computer company, I would travel to CES, which was located in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is an awesome, you want to go to Vegas to have fun. Well, why not go there for a business trip, which is whole reason why business trips were invented, guys. That's the whole reason why it's an entire industry, is because all those people who are doing the travel are writing off their trip. They're writing off the hotel. They're writing off all sorts of things. You can write off the travel, the flights, everything, most of the stuff that you spend there, and some of the meals. I mean, it changes. Sometimes you can write them all off. Sometimes you can only write them half off. Obviously, guys, you can write off a ton when you travel, right? And that basically means that your trip is a complete 100% deduction on your taxes. That's awesome. Just has to be work-related. And it's pretty easy to do work-related trip, guys. Whatever field that you pick, all you have to do is find a convention that's going on in the next year, and then your entire vacation is going to be paid for. Now, obviously, if you stay extra days that don't involve in your trip and you have no actual business on those days, then you will have to put those additional days on your personal expenses and not write them off. But there's ways around that too. All you got to do is basically someone you meet at the convention, say, hey, I'm going to meet you on Tuesday, or you have to meet them on Tuesday, right? Because Tuesday's the only day they're available. That's after the convention, and there you go. You stayed the extra days, and then therefore you can write it off. Obviously, all of this you need to talk to a tax attorney. All of this you need to do your own personal research. Don't take some random guy's advice for it. But these are travel is one of the things the IRS lets you, it's on their website, so it's all legit, lets you write off, which saves you money. Hey, guys, having a small business, it's extremely important you write off everything that is legal and wise by the IRS for you to write off as much as humanly possible. It lowers your overall taxes and helps you save your money to build your wealth. All right, next thing, cell phone. I'm not sure exactly how this works, but I know you can write it off. I know if you go to the extreme case, you could have two cell phones. You could have a cell phone specifically for business, and you could have a cheap cell phone specifically for your personal use. But obviously, there is a amount that you can write off, and cell phones are so expensive now. You get the nicest cell phone, you're gonna be paying $100 for the cell phone a month, and you're gonna be paying anywhere from $50 to $100 for the service. So that's a lot of money you can save there. 100% write off if you do it right. Obviously, you've got to do your research. You need to figure out how it works. You need to contact. I'm not going to tell you exactly how things. Remember, you could be watching this video in the future. In the future, they could change the rules. They could make them even better. They could make them worse. So you always need to check. These are the 5 exciting reasons that you can. 5 exciting things that you can write off currently. All right, and this is the big one. That was number 4. This is the big one. This is the biggest one, guys. This is the holy grail of small business write-offs. Is the home office. All right, and I'm gonna give you a bonus right after this one. The home office is the best write-off, guys. But you have to make sure it's legit. You have to make sure you have to designate the actual space that you're using for your small business. This works really great when you have a big house and you can designate an actual office space. You can say, hey, this area is specifically for office. It's not designed for anything else. I'm not using that room for anything else. I'm only using it for office, and then the IRS lets you write it off. Then you write yourself a check for that amount, and in that amount, it comes completely off your taxes. It's like a roommate. Your small business, think of it as a roommate. But remember, your small business needs to have its own room. All right. Now, obviously, if you live in a super small apartment, you're gonna have to designate a corner, right? Okay, you can do that. The IRS will let you do that. You got to do your own research, figure it out. But the IRS will let you do small places in your small apartment. However, the ideally is you want an actual room that's dedicated to your business that you can write off the entire room. And the amounts are very, very good, guys, on a small business. This is the biggest one because you can write an entire check to yourself, take that check, put it in the bank, and it's all tax-free, right? That's huge. That lowers your cost of rent. It lowers your cost of doing business. This is a huge tax write-off. All right, and this is the freebie. This is number 6 because you stayed till the end of the video. Number 6, you can write. Now, when you use your vehicle for business purposes and you are basically doing a business trip in your vehicle, they let you write off somewhere around 58 cents per mile. Now, obviously it goes up every year. It could be 64 or something currently, but every single year it goes up. All right, and they let you, that should include that 58 cents covers your gas, your insurance, and the cost of your car. All right, so basically you do your mileage, you say, okay, I went 60 miles. Now, when you're doing the mileage, you need to keep a record and a book of the trip from start, the odometer end, and obviously it's a lot of paperwork, but it's free money. And once again, that's your bonus one. Free money, write off the car. Write off the expenses of the car. You get that. You do a lot of traveling, and it's all for your small business. You're going around looking at rental houses, looking at properties. All that traveling that you do, you can write off all of it. That adds up. That's a lot of money. And then that money comes back to you. Basically, it's lowering the overall cost of you living, right? All these things can overall lower the cost of your expenses to live, because your expenses to live are going to go up when you start a small business. But when you do your tax write-offs, it's actually going to lower your overall cost because like I said, your small business is a roommate. It's lowering the cost of your overall house, right? Because you got your own office. Same thing with your cell phone, lowering the cost of your cell phone. Same thing with your car, it's lowering the cost of your car. Your office equipment, right? Lowering the cost of your office equipment. These are all legal things. Guys, always do everything is as legal as humanly possible. And also, always contact a CPA or an accountant and tell them what you're trying to do. But first, before you contact them, Do your research. Do your own research. Look on the IRS's website. Make sure I'm telling you the truth. Watch other videos. Do your research. Read other articles. Do a lot of research. Get it real clear in your head, because the problem is you walk into an accountant's office and you get the wrong accountant, and the wrong accountant could be talking completely different. You need to understand what you're trying to accomplish and what your basic tax strategy is. Then when you walk into I've walked into an accountant's office, I've told them my basic accounting strategy, and they basically told me it couldn't be done. And I was like, I know it can be done because I've done my research, I've read it they understood it, like when you told them the facts, but then you asked them to actually do it, they couldn't do it, right? It's just not it's not something they did every day, right? So I just moved on to another accountant. I fired that accountant lady, and I moved on to another accountant, and I said, hey, and basically I quizzed them. Now I learned my lesson. I walked in the office, I said, hey, is this possible? And then I waited for them to tell me the answer, right? I said, hey, can you write off the mileage on your car? This is an example. And they said, of course you can. You can write off 58 miles per gallon, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, excellent. Can you do this? And they're like, yes, of course you can, blah, 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 blah. I was like, awesome. And I was like, well, this is what I'm trying to do. And they're like, yep, you totally do that. And they said, this is why you can do it. This is why it's legal. I will do your taxes. I will make sure it's perfect. I will make sure it's legal. I will make sure you are above board and everything is done correctly. Then that's the accountant you want. So you got to sometimes it's like real estate agents. You got to shop for the right real estate agent. You got to shop for the right accountant. Some accountants are really great at corporate. Some accountants are really great at small business. Some accountants are really great at real estate. Some accountants are really good at different stuff. Do not do your own taxes, guys. That is a no-no. Don't ever do that. You need to pay someone else to do your taxes. I know it costs more money, but remember, you're writing off all this stuff, and also you can write off when you pay your accountant. That's a business expense. You can write it off, all right? So it lowers your overall tax bill. Obviously, guys, lowering your tax bill doesn't make you money. That just saves you money, right? It's on the back end. You've still got to make some money, all right? You got to make some money into the small business. But when you follow all these things, you can lower your overall expenses because of the tax write-offs that you use. And if you do it correctly and you live frugally and you lower your expenses, you can start building that wealth legitimately and correctly with IRS, not having any problems with them, and having your accountant. Always have an accountant, guys. You start a small business, you need to expect and find a decent one that's cheap, right? I believe my accountant's only about for a corporation it's like $500, and for personal taxes it's like $500. I've paid an accountant before much larger amounts. I hope he doesn't watch this. I've had an accountant that I paid $2,000 to do my corporate taxes, right? So there is definitely a wide variety, and it depends on the area. Because like if you're in New York City, obviously you're going to be paying an accountant probably about $2,000. If you're off in the country, you might be able to find an accountant that'll do it for $300. All right, just depends on the area you're in and the market that's available. So you need to talk to multiple accountants, guys. Always check with the IRS. Always consult a tax attorney. Always take tax advice from a professional tax accountant. But first, do your due diligence. Figure out the benefits of what you're trying to accomplish and start using this. This whole video is to get your mind stimulated, to start thinking about ideas and start realizing that a small business is a huge write-off that you can take that'll save you money. All right, and then once you start making money, then you can get all that money coming in and start lowering your overall cost of doing business and lower your overall costs, right? Guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. Please press the like button and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.